we want to write the equation for this parabola. I'm going to start by using the shifts, and I can see that the vertex up here, that would typically be at 0, 0, has shifted 4 to the right and up 6. Looking at that vertex form that we've been using, that would mean that since it's 4 to the right, I'm going to have an x minus 4 squared. And since it's up 6, I'll have a plus 6. I got a little bit ahead of myself. And the tricky part now is to find that a value. To find that a value, we can't just look at the graph and tell because where the other points are. So we're just going to use any other point on the graph that's not the vertex, use its x and y value to plug in, and then solve for a. Because if we have one equation with one unknown, we know all the steps for solving that equation. Currently we have 3 unknowns, a y, a and an x, but I can use the graph to find one set of x's and y's that will work. I can use this point, I can use this point, this one, any of those will work well. I'm going to pick this one for no good reason. That's the point 8, negative 2. So the x value is 8, and when the x value is 8, y should be negative 2. So I'll replace this y with a negative 2. I don't know a, that's my unknown. The x value was 8, so I get an expression that looks like this. I do want to solve this, but before you solve an equation, you should always simplify as much as you can first. That means like get rid of your parentheses, get rid of your exponents, put all the numbers together that you know how to put together before you start to move things around and solve. Anytime we're simplifying, we are using our old friend order of operations. You may have learned it as PEMDAS. So I'm first looking for parentheses, and we're just going to look at those parentheses and do that calculation. 8 minus 4 is 4. So I'll have 4 squared plus 6. The next thing I'll take care of is exponents. So 4 squared is 16. And instead of writing a 16 like this, which like nobody does, I'm going to say 16a, right? 16a plus 6 equals negative 2. Now, this side is as simple as it can be. This side is as simple as it could be. We're ready to start solving the equation. When we solve, we still use PEMDAS, but we go in reverse because we're trying to undo what was done. So the first question I ask myself is there anything to add or subtract? And of course, the 6 is chilling out over here. We got to get rid of that guy. Subtract 6 from both sides. These will cancel. These guys combine. They're friends. They make negative 8 equals 16a. Took care of that. I'm going to go up a level and say, is there anything to multiply or divide? And of course, there's a 16 here. Divide by 16. Divide by 16. These cancel. And then a equals whatever negative 8 over 16 becomes. That reduces to 1/2. If you want to use a calculator and get negative 0.5, that's fine too. But I promise you, you start using fractions enough, you start to prefer them. I'm just telling you. I know what I'm talking about. So anyway, a is negative 1/2. That is not the answer to the question. The question was, what's the equation? Off the bat, I knew the equation would look something like this, but I didn't have that a value. Now I do. So my final answer in beautiful orange is going to be y equals negative 1/2 x minus 4 squared plus 6. Now, the last thing we should kind of do is a little reality check. See if this equation makes sense. This parabola does open upside down. Opens downward. So I'm not at all surprised to see that there's a negative in front. And it's also a little wider than most of the parabolas that we've seen. So I'm not surprised that this number is between 0 and 1. And of course we know these parts are correct because we understood shifts well enough to get to this point in the first place. So it all looks good to me. All this algebra is required. If you have questions, let me know. Good luck.